Hi everyone, thanks for being here. I'm going to take you through a little story, just a little bit about our company, what we've been up to. We've taken an integrated approach, and you hear this word a few times through my talk. We've taken an integrated view on energy storage, and we've started it from a slightly different angle. We're looking at... You've read that all? Yeah, good, okay. We're a battery metals focused company, and we've started off by looking at that from the viewpoint of vanadium. Vanadium, we have a vanadium project in Western Australia called Gabanintha. That project's been in the company for a number of years now, and it has been is actively still under evaluation. A lot of work's been done, and a lot of work will still be done on it. We're progressing that project very, very rapidly towards an economic outcome. The work in the last few years is focused on increasing the quality and grade of the resource. And on the way through this, the company had already started looking at energy storage and the application of vanadium in energy storage, not from an insignificant small component, but as a significant part of the future. And as the last 2 years have unfolded, there's been a significant change in the world we live in with respect to stationary energy storage. And our eyes have been opened as we've looked into this, and we decided that we'd follow an integrated strategy towards vanadium and the use of vanadium in its energy storage applications. To that end, we've developed some key agreements with battery suppliers and renewable energy installers here to try and develop that market at its end point, believing that there's not much point having a commodity at one end and having no market at the other, especially in a market that is in its infancy. We therefore offer investors exposure to that entire value chain, and I'll spend a bit of time talking about that today. But likewise, in those few years, we've developed an integrated strategy, and we've focused on energy storage. We feel that the opportunity does exist for us to look into other energy metals, and hence our presence at the conference. And we've taken an option on a lithium project in South Africa to extend our energy storage strategy and our leverage for investors. Just a quick corporate snapshot, 1.1 million shares on issue. We've raised about $5 million this year at above our last raising, which was done in 2015. So the company is well funded going forward for what we need to do. We've seen a good, handsome share price rise on the back of our work in energy storage over the last year. And we've maintained a small but very focused team, many of which are here today. So please come and see us at our booth. This is sort of a snapshot slide of our energy strategy. So just looking at it, we've got ourselves at the top there, but we've taken an energy storage view, and we're focusing on our project. Now, vanadium is fundamentally a steel commodity. Steel still drives the steel market, drives the price, and that'll stay that way for a couple of years. So you looking at our project from the size and scale that it is, we will look at it from a steel point of view, but we are very aware that a component of that production will go into the energy storage market, and that component will be larger over time. It has the benefit of having that diversity in it, which is not the case for some other metals. There is, if you like, a continuum here, which is the beginning of it, building the operation, producing the vanadium. The electrolyte we'll spend some time talking about as well, which is the fuel in that battery. In vanadium battery's case, that is a liquid dissolved acid mixture which stores the energy, and then the sales. Without a market, you don't have anything to sell into. So, just a quick view, if you like, something to take home in your mind. Australian Vanadium is about diversified action to maximise opportunity. We're focused on vanadium, we're focused on electrolyte, we're focused on battery sales in the vanadium battery space, and we're focused on other energy storage metals such as lithium. So just moving on to steel and vanadium markets. Vanadium has the capacity to energy storage has the capacity to change our entire society. Many of the talks this morning and probably going into tomorrow will keep highlighting this point, that both electric vehicles and stationary storage are transforming our society as we look to seek to use renewable energy in a way that is able to be utilised outside of the time of generation. Storing electricity is one of those things that we've always wanted to do as a species since we found it. So we've now getting to the point where the technology can start to match that. In the vanadium sense, the vanadium Redox flow battery has the capacity to store large components of that, and that has a direct influence on the amount of vanadium used in the energy storage space, and in fact it disrupts that market, hence our interest in it. Again, vanadium is, if you look at that pie chart, it is still a steel market. The pricing is still defined by steel, and so that you have to keep that in mind. But there is a caveat to that, and we're seeing it in my work at Vanitec, the global vanadium body. We're starting to see that as a significant impact of vanadium in energy storage have on this market. Over the past few years, vanadium's gone into, I think we heard the previous speaker talk, a structural bottom line, so sitting on, bouncing along the bottom there because of low usage, and then we've also seen vanadium pricing from an oversupply point of view. And the blue chart there shows supply. In the last few years, heading into the last few years of just gone past, so some South African production has come offline, and we had projects like Windermere that never got quite to their production capacity. And then we went to an iron ore crash, if you like, where steel and iron ore production had come off. So the primary producers of vanadium were a very large part of South African market, and then Chinese steel producers as slag. As they came off, we've seen a structural decline in the amount of vanadium available in the production world, and the demand continued to grow, particularly in Chinese rebar. So we're seeing a change and a turnaround in that price. And the last 6 months, in fact, have seen a 50% turnaround in the vanadium price. It's very hard to find those numbers, but if you go into Ryan's notes and one of the other sources of pricing, you'll find that price has in fact moved significantly this year. Metals Bulletin is the thing I'm thinking about. So let's look at the impact of energy storage used in vanadium redox batteries, so vanadium. In the last, this data is sourced from the Department of Energy storage database. In the last few years, we've seen energy projects. That's a very poorly defined chart, but it is showing a trend of increased project implementation. On the left-hand side, we have megawatt hours of storage. On the right-hand side, we have metric tons of vanadium. They're directly correlated. The more energy storage you put in using vanadium flow batteries, the more vanadium you use. Now, that trend will have a significant impact on the use of vanadium in steel, which is the that grey line. The blue line there is what our production is, what our our production is going to be, and that's our demand. You take this as demand without VRBs and that demand with VRBs. And now these numbers are making some sense from the data we're getting, and the predictions are starting to come very, very close to what estimates are. But this adds nearly 8,000 or 9,000 tonnes to an 80,000 tonne market over a very short space of time. And those changes are really important from a vanadium consumption point of view, and they should not be ignored. So steel markets are important, but energy storage markets for vanadium are very important, and they could affect price. All this discussion about using vanadium in energy storage is moot if you don't have a decent project to consider as your long-term supply. So Australian Vanadium is blessed with a globally significant project at Gabanintha. It's just south of Meekatharra, and the project has been known for some time, but the most recent work, taking it to measured and indicated status, has led it to become a repository and a very good peer player on a global level. There are not a lot of grassroots vanadium projects being developed globally, but we certainly feature very well in terms of a peer comparison. Grade-wise, we sit up with some of the bigger ones here, and we compare very favourably in terms of tonnage. Bushveld has the highest in-situ grade, and Largo is growing absolutely gangbusters in Brazil at the moment, producing very, very high quality material from one of the best deposits probably ever found in the vanadium world. Renewed interest at the moment in the market for vanadium projects. Grade is very important in vanadium, especially when you apply conventional processes. If you wish to apply non-conventional processes, you can go down the grade curve, but you're taking a lot of risk because not a lot of the vanadium projects in the world have ever been produced from this level. Secondary vanadium, yes, have used other methods, but primarily up here. So conventional methods are important if you're applying them to a grade standard deposit. Our resource, total JORC 2012 compliant resource of 91 million tonnes at 0.82, putting it in a very good country with a distinct, geologically distinct high-grade horizon of 56 million tonnes at 1. that puts us in quite a unique spot. The material is the basal unit, which is in red on that graphic there, is a high-grade titanomagnetite, and it delivers very nicely. It's mineable by open-cut methods. The geometry is very simple, and that's very consistent, and has been drilled over a 30-metre line spacing for a few kilometres in the recent drill program we completed. So we recently we completed a conceptual study, and we completed those results and released them to the market. The first pass optimization gave us a 4-kilometre long pit down here, and that looked very, very encouraging, taking out nearly half of our resource base and all our measured and indicated resources into a mineable pit. So we're currently spending our time on Gabanintha in advancing those studies. The primary constraints there are obviously going to be environmental, water, so we're going to be focusing our time on those. As a side, we're going to be working on so the hydro and water supply and our environmental studies are key. Those are often timing-based issues, and many of the operators here who've worked on West Australian projects know that those are very important things. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. You want to make sure you have those intact. We have a very neutral landscape up there in terms of both native title and environment, but we want to make sure we don't jump the gun in terms of spending money on it unnecessarily. But while we're doing that, we're going to upgrade the resource again with some work we've done internally on density. We'll do a mine design, scheduling of these multiple components. As you can see from the section before, the ore body is made up of two distinct ore body types, if you like. So scheduling and blending is going to be very important, and some more met test work on the leachability, the roast leachability, and our recovery parameters for each different ore type are going to be very important for us. So we've got a busy time ahead, but this work will allow us to continue and focus on marketing and offtake negotiations, both with steel players and with battery suppliers. Battery suppliers and battery makers at the moment are feeling the pinch of where they're going to get the vanadium to run their batteries. It's very important that they start thinking about offtake. Our work at Vanatech is showing that there is a desire by battery makers to get into that market, and they've never done that before. We'll obviously be working on our process flow sheet, which is a conventional process flow sheet, well understood, off-the-shelf parts to do things with good experience around the world to draw from. Electrolyte. Electrolyte is a product that you can take a mine product, vanadium powder, and dissolve it in an H2SO4, and you can create a mixed electrolyte. You then balance that by putting it through either a mixed chemistry, acid chemistry, or using an electrochemical method, and you create a battery fuel. It has even numbers of ions on either side. Vanadium flow batteries are great for this. It means you have putting one chemistry into a battery that is able to pass energy from one side of the cell to the other. This Australian invention is pretty fantastic. It was invented in Sydney by a Professor Skylas Kazakis, and she is a consultant to us, and we look forward to working with her more now that we're advancing down this track. As one of our key components, building a commercial plant is our objective here, and we've imported a small pilot plant which will be rolled out over the coming weeks. It's actually here already, and we're going to be commissioning it with some of the members of our team over the next few weeks. That will allow us to determine our ability to produce electrolyte that is suitable to go into a commercial grade battery. Once we can do that, we'll immediately look to plans to scale up to a commercial electrolyte plant to supply our own electrolyte into the battery market. So that brings me to my point about vanadium and energy storage. Why are we on this trail? What is it all about? Without a vanadium energy storage market, all the other stuff doesn't really make much sense. So we really like what's going on here. And to do this, we decided to create a subsidiary. I've got a sales background. I'm not afraid of selling heavy technical equipment, software. Some people here would know I've done that in the past. This is a technical sale. It's a technical product. It's great technology, and it's very saleable. We've chosen a partnership with a German manufacturer who is the leader in the world. And the technology itself is distinct from lithium battery chemistry. And it has this really good, cool thing about the vanadium that you can put inside it, right? So we're going to go that way. They're scalable. The power component and the storage component are distinct from each other. So you can increase the tank size, and you can keep the power at a restricted level. So this allows you to target the solution, but really shift power. So you can say, look, I've got a load of 50 kilowatts, but I want it for 10 hours. So you can look at base load of that 50 kilowatts for 10 hours. And that's the way that flow batteries are able to do this. Because they are flow batteries, because of the way that flow batteries work, because it has a single chemistry of vanadium inside it, it has a very, very long cycle life. And if anyone's been dealing with batteries, they'll realise that the important things are cycle life, round-trip efficiency, and the state of charge range that you can operate a battery in. And this is where flow batteries have a lot of that all together. They are commercially available from a number of companies around the world, and we've chosen to partner with one of them. The key thing for you to take away on vanadium batteries versus other batteries is that they are energy-centric. They store energy. They're like, the best thing to compare them to is pumped hydro. Pumped hydro is a big dam, lots of energy stored in that dam, with a fixed power station at the bottom. So these are smaller units of a pumped hydro type solution. You can make them bigger in scale in terms of the hours of energy you store, and they have a fixed power generation capacity. So the power-centric versus the energy-centric. They're also very targeted towards multiple hours and higher powers, with larger systems being implemented globally. We see the Australian market as ideal for this. It's a sophisticated, intelligent market. It has lots of power issues. It has lots of strung out cables across the countryside in various different settings. It has high power costs. And because we're looking at shifting large amounts of power, of energy from one side of time to the other, through our perfect solar and wind resources, these solutions do have economic outcomes. And we're spending our time in our sales team at VSun Energy identifying those target customers and then working with them towards sales. Those sales are range in size from 100 kilowatt hours to multiple megawatt hours of storage. Without just saying it all, we went ahead and did it. So we found an opportunity in the southwest to install a solar system with a FP10100, which we've installed. Engineers here at the back. We've put this thing in. It's been running. It runs like a clock. It's quiet, and it is very efficient. You can see that's open on that side. You can see the fluid side of the battery. Those are the stacks and the pumps. You can get a real feel that this is a machine that's operating. Since it's been installed, I don't think the grid's been on for more than 10 or 15 minutes that we've had it on. So it's running at a full. That solar is providing the power to the site, to this battery. This battery is providing power to the site, and off we go. It's a very stable, very mature technology, and people need to see it with their own eyes. It's down near Busselton. Give us a call. We're bound to happy to drop by. You don't do this all without some key partnerships. Gildermeister are a global leader, especially with hours on the ground of installation of these batteries. They've installed more than 100 around Europe. They've expanded into Africa. They're expanding into Asia. They love Australia for its opportunities and niches. We've been working with them now on a distribution agreement for 8 or so months, and it's been great, and we've got a long way to go with plenty of opportunities ahead of us. One of the partners we've been working with is a company called SunConnect here out of Melbourne and out of Perth, who have a lot of experience in installing solar systems, a key need to work with. And on the electrolyte side, we've partnered with a company called CTEC out of the UK, who've got quite a unique electrolyte capacity, commercial plant capacity set of technology that we want to work with. So that's part of the plant we've just installed. So we really are on track to achieving our storage objectives in that respect. My last little part of the pie there is not to leave anything unattended in the resource sector. We understand energy storage, we understand the market we're pitching at, we understand the importance of lithium, and what got me interested in lithium as a commodity is actually vanadium. Vanadium used in the developing battery technologies that are in lithium-ion cathode, so using vanadium as dosed into lithium-ion cathodes, is having a significant impact on the behaviour and usability of lithium-ion batteries. And we see this as a growing field, not just at a research level, but as an implementation level. And that got us interested in, we should probably be looking at the wider scope. And you've got to look at a place where you understand and also where you see massive opportunity. And the project that we've taken an option over, we recently announced. It's in the Northern Cape of South Africa. If anyone knows that, it's quite a remote area up near the Namibian border. There is a pegmatite belt that's been known there, very well documented and researched, that extends a couple of 100 kilometres across the top end along the Orange River. It's not a country that's unfamiliar to me, having worked in Namibia for a number of years. This mine is a classic, the old mine that was there was a classic LCT pegmatite, focused and mined at different stages for a number of things, a number of commodities in that space, including lithium and tantalum. The opportunity that this presents in the field itself is for us to extend our exposure to the energy storage metals and also to give our investors maximum exposure across the space. So we've taken this option over it, just a map. That's the town of Springbok, which is a few hundred kilometres north of Cape Town. That's the Namibian border. So it's a fairly low population area, but in a very well-known field. And at the moment, I think we're the only people in that field, which is a great feeling to be. That's not the case, I think, in many other lithium fields globally. We probably won't be alone there for long. So it opens our opportunities and it lets us go forward. It's an impressive place to visit, and it's an impressive place to want to work in the sense that you feel you're in the real space. Those are very large blades of spodumene in that particular space. So just in summary, we're active, we're advancing our integration strategy. We focused on energy storage. We allow people to look at multiple aspects of it. We've got some key projects that we're working on. One of them is very well advanced. We're working with the leaders in the field with respect to energy, and we're working with the leaders in the field with respect to vanadium electrolyte. We're collaborating with the right people, and we're looking to extend that strategy not only from vanadium point of view, but also into other forms of energy storage metals. Thank you very much.